This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. The website is www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to the Morning Mindset Program, where we are reading a few pages of Think and Grow Rich and then finishing out the hour with some great discussion about what was read. Today I'll be reading from page 88 to 91. Those in the audience, there's a PDF available to you that you can read along and or go back to and refer to. So the middle of page 88 begins. Dan Halpin is a splendid example of what I mean. During his college days, he was a manager of the famous 1930 National Championship Notre Dame football team when it was under the direction of the late Knute Rockne. Perhaps he was inspired by the great football coach to aim high and not mistake temporary defeat for failure, just as Andrew Carnegie, the great industrial leader, inspired his young business lieutenants to set high goals for themselves. At any rate, young Halpin finished college at a mighty unfavorable time when the Depression had made jobs scarce. So after a fling at investment banking and motion pictures, he took the first opportunity with the potential future he could find, selling electrical hearing aids on a commission basis. Anyone could start in that sort of job, and Halpin knew it, but it was enough to open the door of opportunity to him. For almost 2 years, he continued in a job not to his liking, and he would never have risen above that job if he had not done something about his dissatisfaction. He aimed first at the job of assistant sales manager of his company and got the job. That one step upward placed him high enough above the crowd to enable him to see still greater opportunity. Also, it placed him where opportunity could see him. He made such a fine record selling hearing aids that A.M. Andrews, chairman of the board of the Dictograph Products Company, a business competitor of the company for which Halpin worked, wanted to know something about that man, Dan Halpin, who was taking big sales away from the long-established Dictograph Company. He sent for Halpin. When the interview was over, Halpin was the new sales manager in charge of the Acousticon division. Then, to test young Halpin's mettle, Mr. Andrews went away to Florida for 3 months, leaving him to sink or swim in his new job. He did not sink. Knute Rockne's spirit of all the world loves a winner and has no time for a loser inspired him to put so much into his job that he was recently elected vice president of the company and general manager of the Acousticon and silent radio division, a job which most men would be proud to earn through 10 years of loyal effort. Halpin turned the trick in little more than 6 months. It is difficult to say whether Mr. Andrews or Mr. Halpin is more deserving of eulogy, for the reason that both showed evidence of having an abundance of that very rare quality known as imagination. Mr. Andrews deserves credit for seeing in young Halpin a go-getter of the highest order. Halpin deserves credit for refusing to compromise with life by accepting and keeping a job he did not want. And that is one of the major points I'm trying to emphasize through this entire philosophy, that we rise to high positions or remain at the bottom because of conditions we can control if we desire to control them. I am also trying to emphasize another point, namely that both success and failure are largely the results of habit. I have not the slightest doubt that Dan Halpin's close association with the greatest football coach America ever knew planted in his mind the same brand of desire to excel, which made the Notre Dame football team world famous. Truly, there is something to the idea that hero worship is helpful, provided one worships a winner. Halpin tells me that Rockne was one of the world's greatest leaders of men in all history. My belief in the theory that business associations are vital factors both in failure and in success was recently demonstrated when my son Blair was negotiating with Dan Halpin for a position. Mr. Halpin offered him a beginning salary of about 1/2 what he would have gotten from a rival company. I brought parental pressure to bear and induced him to accept the place with Mr. Halpin because I believe that close association with one who refuses to compromise with circumstances he does not like is an asset that can never be measured in terms of money. The bottom is a monotonous, dreary, unprofitable place for any person. That is why I've taken the time to describe how lowly beginnings may be circumvented by proper planning. Also, that is why so much space has been devoted to a description of this new profession, created by a woman who has inspired to do a fine job of planning because she wanted her son to have a favorable break. With the changed conditions ushered in by the world economic collapse came also the need for newer and better ways of marketing personal services. It is hard to determine why someone had not previously discovered this stupendous need, in view of the fact that more money changes hands in return for personal services than for any other purpose. The sum paid out monthly to people who work for wages and salaries is so huge that it runs into hundreds of millions, and the annual distribution amounts to billions. Perhaps some will find in the idea here briefly described the nucleus of the riches they desire. Ideas with much less merit have been the seedlings from which great fortunes have grown. Woolworth's 5 and 10 cent store idea, for example, had far less merit, but it piled up a fortune for its creator. Those seeing opportunity lurking in this suggestion will find valuable aid in the chapter on organized planning. Incidentally, an efficient merchandiser of personal services would find a growing demand for his services wherever there are men and women who seek better markets for their services. By applying the mastermind principle, a few people with suitable talent could form an alliance and have a paying business very quickly. One would need to be a fair writer with a flair for advertising and selling, one handy at typing and hand lettering, and one should be a first-class business getter who would let the world know about the service. If one person possessed all these abilities, he might carry on the business alone until it outgrew him. The woman who prepared the personal service sales plan for her son now receives requests from all parts of the country for her cooperation in preparing similar plans for others who desire to market their personal services for more money. She has a staff of expert typists, artists, and writers who have the ability to dramatize the case history so effectively that one's personal services can be marketed for much more money than the prevailing wages for similar services. She is so confident of her ability that she accepts as the major portion of her fee a percentage of the increased pay she helps her clients to earn. It must not be supposed that her plan merely consists of clever salesmanship by which she helps men and women to demand and receive more money for the same services they formerly sold for less pay. She looks after the interests of the purchaser as well as the seller of personal services, and so prepares her plans that the employer receives full value for the additional money he pays. The method by which she accomplishes this astonishing result is a professional secret which she discloses to no one excepting her own clients. If you have the imagination and seek a more profitable outlet for your personal services, this suggestion may be the stimulus for which you have been searching. The idea is capable of yielding an income far greater than that of the average doctor, lawyer, or engineer whose education required several years in college. The idea is saleable to those seeking new positions in practically all positions calling for managerial or executive ability, and those desiring rearrangement of incomes in their present positions. There is no fixed price for sound ideas. Back of all ideas is specialized knowledge. Unfortunately, for those who do not find riches in abundance, specialized knowledge is more abundant and more easily acquired than ideas. Because of this very truth, there is a universal demand and an ever-increasing opportunity for the person capable of helping men and women to sell their personal services advantageously. Capability means imagination, the one quality needed to combine specialized knowledge with ideas in the form of organized plans designed to yield riches. If you have imagination, this chapter may present you with an idea sufficient to serve as the beginning of the riches you desire. Remember, the idea is the main thing. Specialized knowledge may be found just around the corner, any corner. And that concludes the reading and the chapter. And the chapter.
Good
Good,
morning.
good morning, Sabrina. So glad you could join us.
What's happening?
Not a whole lot, actually. Just finished up that reading. I just
know.
posted the PDF for those who just came in. I want to review it. It's only a couple of pages.
That was
I want to do
awesome.
Thank you. I want to do a quick hello to everybody, which I didn't do. Hi, Sean. Hugs to you, my friend. Hi, Roxanne. Welcome. Elias. Omar, good to see you. Eric, of course, good to see you. Holly, glad you stick with us. And Alok. I'm not quite sure if that's your name or if it is part of the company name, but welcome and good morning. All right, Sabrina, what do you think?
I think we need to come up with a good idea.
I think we already have.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Down in your lower third is one of them.
That's right. Down in my lower third is one of them. Come network with us, you guys. You can find us at networklivevirtually.com. Sorry to throw my plug out there.
Hi, Don. Good morning. But you know what? I mean, that was part of the reading, was surround yourself with people, get an idea, and have a handful of people. He's calling it a mastermind in the sense that have the specialists around you, and that's like your advisory board. And yet, part of what you did was to get a couple of us that were really good in some cases, very different from each other. Good web developer, copywriter, networkers, connectors, idea people. Got us together and boom. And then put the hard work into it and then built a business that we can all participate in.
And we did just exactly that. Mm-hmm. Just exactly that. But in our case, it kind of happened to fall together almost accidentally.
Yeah, you didn't go out to seek it.
Mm-mm.
So I'm thinking it goes right along with the reading that talks about opportunity finds you and
Yes.
You find opportunity when you have the mindset of being open to it. So correct me if I'm wrong. All right. So here I am to this point. I've got my major definite purpose. I know the income that is going to be in my hands in the early 2016. Got a date. Got all that. I've read it this morning. I read it last night, read it yesterday morning. So I'm doing those steps. Had an idea to build my business and things are falling into place. Opportunities are presenting themselves, including you, Sabrina, who popped up in front of me June.
Yeah, in June.
Kind of showed up. And then boom, before you know it, everything's falling into place that you are part of mine, right? You've been an opportunity that presented yourself to me.
And that's interesting because I thought it was the reverse.
And that's why I love this book, because I think somebody correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not if I'm wrong, but maybe there's a different way to see it. But this last part of the reading, just having the idea of which both of us had, my idea was very different than Sabrina's. And it's still very different. And yet Sabrina provided me with an opportunity, sought me out, put it in front of me. I accepted it because it added to my existing idea. My existing idea is actually adding to Sabrina's, and that wasn't intentional.
Yeah, that was not intentional. And I don't even truly know how we met any longer. I just know that one day you were there.
Sean might know. I don't know.
Sean wasn't around then.
Oh, you weren't there, Sean?
No, he was not around back then.
Wow.
I do want to address what Sean said about Tony Robbins, because it also pertains to this chapter. Because one of my audio books that I focus pretty heavily on is one of Tony Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
And in this chapter, they talked about idea and imagination, and imagination is capitalized. And Tony Robbins talks in his book about sitting down twice a day and imagining the results or the future of where you're going. And I have to say that I do that.
Where I got it from?
You. No, I'm I don't know, I'm joking. But I got to say, I want to throw this out there for everybody. It works. It genuinely works. If you do that, there are things that will just find you out of the clear blue sky every day that are that add to where you're going.
Literally find you. I mean, I think, well, both of us are serious. Sabrina and I are serious.
I'm dead serious, yes.
I'm not certain where we met. I know it was online.
Mm-hmm.
And
Facebook somewhere.
Probably. And within months, we're business partners. We're collaborators.
Mm-hmm.
Within months, and it's been working over the past few months. So I've heard other stories like that. And yet I think what gets confusing for me, what used to be confusing, trying to understand this concept, is that I guess I thought that my idea had to be very similar to your idea, if not the same, for us to see an opportunity to work together. Whereas this is very different in that we both had our separate ideas that we're working towards, and yet what each of us does is an opportunity for the other to support the idea that individually we have.
And they work collectively very well together.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And there was actually a point in time when we started putting all this together where I was in desperate need of some very serious technical help, didn't know where to get it, didn't know how to find it, and it landed in my lap. I got contacted one day, and this person said, "Hey, I know this is what you're doing, and I want to be part of that. Here's what I'll give you."
Again, opportunity found you.
It was what I needed. It was what I needed right then, right there, at that moment to take the next step, and it arrived.
Mm-hmm. That's gets me even more excited about reading this book.
Mm-hmm.
Because how long have I been doing this? Well over 2 weeks. I mean, I guess I'm into week 3 or 4, something like that. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. I only read the short couple of pages because that's really all we need to have browsing discussions. And yet, by putting this into effect, I am much more clear on my idea. Mm-hmm. Putting those steps into and the principles that we've discussed to this point. Of course, there's other principles that I have. And well, thank you, Sean. He's my organizer here.
Yeah, I know. He's keeping us on track.
Yeah.
I remember finding Sean, but I can't tell you how or where. But like he said, I knocked on his virtual door and said, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Yep. And I think Blab is giving us those opportunities as well to find like-minded people, to share ideas, to see opportunities, to move forward with, that's what I'm doing. I'm moving forward with what I need and want from my own idea. This is part of it. Having other people to join me in my morning preparedness, if you will, my morning routine. Now my morning routine's been expanded. That's the interesting thing. Because of the discussion. Usually I'm done by 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I've already gotten some work done and everything else. But I'm done and doing other things. But I'm perfectly okay extending my morning routine because the positive impact this has had on me, and I'm getting feedback from others privately that it's giving them positive impact. So I'm glad that it's working for us. Hey, we've got an empty seat. If anybody wants to join us for the discussion, feel free.
I was just going to say, you guys, come on, somebody hop in. Somebody had to put their face on. I put mine on this morning. And I'm not a morning person, so this is like a serious job. And you only need it from here up.
There you go.
Jammies from there down.
There you go. There you go. So let's go back to the reading then, and let's take a look at the shout words, right? That which he's really trying to emphasize. I like the, when he introduced his idea to his son about whether or not you should work with Mr. Halpin, and his belief that close association with someone who refuses to compromise with circumstances he does not like is an asset that can never be measured in terms of money. And because this is a man that didn't settle and didn't waver from his target, which was to move higher up. And I can recognize that I was one of those that compromised. I wavered. I lost sight of moving forward in those positions. And today I'm not like that. But back in the day and back in corporate, it became easy to get sucked into the vacuum of mediocrity and just, put your head down and do the grind. And I'm here for the money and move on. Yeah.
And it still is, even being entrepreneurial, it still is, unless you take those few moments every day to realign that focus.
Yes. I could slip back into mediocrity. And I think that was probably part of what happened in 2013 when I considered shutting down the business. Lack of direction, lack of passion, lack of just a lot of lack. A lot of things missing. And this was not a part of my morning routine. My morning routine was very different. And I thought it was working because I was getting through. I was getting by. And when too much long after that, when I recommitted to the business and myself, and I want more than just getting by.
You guys, if you're enjoying the conversation and the reading, also please remember to tweet a little bird.
You're awesome. Thank you.
And bring some more folks our direction, because we would certainly love to chat with them. We'd love to chat with you. Think about, find out what you think about the reading, the book, what we talked about today.
How's that, Chuck? Mediocrity? Or what? Somebody just described the world of medicine. I'm going to have to bring you on here so you can describe the grind.
The grind. Oh, yeah. And I hear it's going to get worse, Chuck. In fact, you were saying that hospitals are buying up the doctors. So.
Oh, the Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
Little Miss Sunshine has appeared.
Oh, sorry. That's a good reason to become entrepreneurial, right?
Right. And that's with any, that can be with any industry, but you know what? I think that what we're reading in Napoleon Hill is to not be negatively impacted by that. That you don't have to change your desire or your goal based on the change in the environment.
That's true.
I think that's what he's trying to tell us in this reading. It's the okay, Chuck. Thanks for listening in. I appreciate that. Because he says here, Halpin took a position that was pretty near the bottom, and he follows it up by saying the bottom is a monotonous, dreary, unprofitable place for anybody. And that's why he's showing that if you have proper planning combined with your definiteness of purpose, why are you doing the things you're doing? Keep that vision in front of you. And that's the reason why. There's a reason why I'm doing this, then I
think you just threw out some very key words, Charlene.
Yeah?
And that's
What's that?
Vision in front of you.
Okay.
You have to keep that vision. You have to hold that vision all day long, every single day. And like we just talked about earlier, things they'll just fall out of the sky in your lap. If you hold that vision, I'm telling you.
Well, just because we have proof of that with us, between the two of us, we have that proof.
But there's proof of that. That's,
So how do we keep the vision in front of us? I know with me, it has been the reading in the morning and at night, which is my major definite purpose. I've handwritten it out and I've typed it out. And I've handwritten it out again and I've put it on a 3x5, and I found the 3x5 isn't working for me. So I'm back to the 8.5 by 11. But I read it aloud morning and night. And that is the amount of money that I want. And included in that is the capacity, the services that I offer in exchange for that money. It's clearly defined. And so that makes it very easy for me to see the opportunities that align with who I am, what I'm doing, and what the business is about.
Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact that that's working for you. So
If I
Because
ever got it.
I'm floating along on the ride, and
Yeah.
beside you, and so you and I talk, and I know what's going on and what it is that's happening in your life every day and what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I know that that's working for you. Just throwing that out there, you guys. It genuinely does work. So.
And it wasn't working 6, 7 months ago
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't consistent with, with the reading to myself, the saying aloud, with what Napoleon Hill is putting out there that we should do. And of course, there's other things, but right now the reading is focused on not settling, that it's okay to be in a position that you don't like. It's okay to be doing things you don't like to do. And because it's a means to the end,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what I was getting out of it. I'm just kind of rambling at the moment.
Yeah, I hear you. And the Tony Robbins piece that I work on almost every single day, actually, I listen to it. I have, believe it or not, the old style Walkman because I don't have time to download anything to my MP3. And when I'm out weeding, I listen to this stuff all day long. But one of the things that Tony Robbins said in his book is that after he became successful, learned to fly helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going into a seminar to do a seminar that only held 5,000 people. And he was flying over the top of a building that he stopped, hovered his helicopter over, and realized that he'd been a janitor in that building. Now, that's a pretty crazy thought to have. Now that you're flying a helicopter and you're no longer a janitor in the building. So,
right. Where you can take yourself.
Yes.
Because you're focused, because you had the idea, you have the imagination to realize that the idea is real, it can be, and it will be. And then you're open to the plan and to creating the plan to put into action. Good morning, Sean.
Morning. I apologize if there's a lot of background noise. It's Independence Day here.
Woohoo, party time.
Yeah, there's a lot of random fireworks going off all through the day.
Oh, wow. Just random all through the day, huh?
Well, and they're random all through the day. All the time, there's just a lot more today. It's mostly firecrackers. But I like the reading, and I was looking at it as you were just talking, Charlene.
Yeah.
About, what you're doing today and how it's different from before. And you and Sabrina were talking about the alliances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Coming together, and I look at it, like I said, Sabrina knocked on my virtual door, invited me along. I got a message from her and a friend request, and she says, "Hey, we're doing this thing. We'd love to have you along. I see you out in the groups and stuff. So if you're interested, come along. Here's the information." And then I met you, and we've built a relationship. And then we, early on this journey, we met John Birch.
Yes. Where is he? We
got
to track him
input.
Yeah,
we haven't seen that guy down. Or Dawn.
Yeah, and Dawn
Dawn and I are now in conversations about collaborating and stuff, and Eric and so many others. I mean, there's just all these names that have come that we might not have known if not for the associations and for these platforms like Blab.
The alliances, the platforms, but also is that everybody who's engaged with me off of this platform is aligned with what I'm moving my business toward. And it's not necessarily that they're collaborative partners, but just who they are is aligned with the values that I have with my business. So we're attracting our tribe, right? We're attracting
and I think
because we're focused.
I think that term alliances or allies, to me it says people that are aligned with the same goals and the same plans.
Mm-hmm.
But in the reading today, he says, I was looking at this and thinking of this when you were talking about that our morning routines, etc. And he says, success or failure. And he repeats the sentence twice, but he uses different terminology. The first one, he says, success and failure are dependent on habit.
Yes.
So where we are today is based on our habits of the past. And where we'll be tomorrow is going to be dependent on the habits that we implement today. And then the other thing he said was success and failure is dependent on those alliances. So if we're connecting and working with the right people, they're going to project us into that new future that we want.
Mm-hmm.
But our today has been influenced by, hey, Dr. Danny's here. Another cool person I've met along the journey.
Okay.
And well, and she's a chiropractor by trade.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking.
Danielle, we're going to be talking about you now, dear.
Yeah, so you better get in here, get in the hot seat.
I was actually thinking about her when you were talking to Chuck.
Okay.
Because Chuck was talking about the turmoil in his industry, in the medical industry.
Right.
And you guys were saying, time to look for shifting gears, taking that specialized knowledge, combining it with ideas and imagination, and bring a new product service to market in the entrepreneurial field where we have control. We're not going to rise and fall on the tides of the economy or the company that we're working for.
So, Sean, I need to point something out here because we were just talking about imagination. And you just very specifically said it when we talk about things materializing and just happening and showing and arriving for you when you have got this, thought process going on. But you just got through saying, I was just thinking about Dr. Danny. And boom, she arrived.
And boom, here she is.
That's not by coincidence, you guys.
No.
Yeah, well, let's just, all right, keep going now, because I don't want this to going into some metaphysical kind of conversation either.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
It gets to that point, right? Go ahead.
Here's the thing, because it also made me think about the reticular activating system.
Yeah.
Some people attribute, I manifested, and they get all woo-woo.
Oh, well, woo-woo can be fun, but yeah, it can get a little weird.
Or metaphysical, like you said, I thought this and therefore. But the reality is science has proven it, and Napoleon Hill talked about it, and Maxwell Maltz in psychocybernetics.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Robbins talks about it. It's this system.
Well, it's nothing new. Right.
Right. And NLP studies it. It's been studied over and over and over about our subconscious. The reticular activating system is this. It's actually the filter between our conscious and subconscious.
Okay.
It's that thing that, we issue command, the conscious issues commands to the subconscious to be watching out for something. And when I pulled it up to prepare to jump on, and talk about this, it talked about like if you're walking through a busy airport and you're just kind of focused on getting to your gate and you're not really paying attention to the conversations and what's being said on the speaker until suddenly your name is called out. And then boom, the alert's on, you're like paying attention.
Right.
And that's a simple explanation of your reticular activating system.
Okay.
And, talking about this, writing our goals down and writing it as if now and what we want to go towards, not what we're trying to get away from, because our subconscious does not understand the negative.
Correct.
We say, I don't want, your subconscious says, okay, I'll get it.
Okay.
Because it didn't hear the not.
Correct.
It heard, it's like if I tell you not to think about a purple cow, and I brought this up before, we all think of a purple cow because in order to think about it, to not think about it, we have to think about it.
You have to think about it first. Right.
And
mine faded to pink in that thought.
Mine went chocolate.
such a
I'm
rebel.
looking at chocolate milk cows now.
Yeah, Yeah. My wife would be all over that one.
I know.
But so when we're doing this exercise of writing down our goal, our money goal, and we put it as if now, but we give it a future date. Because part of it is if I say I have $1,300,240 in the bank.
Correct.
Your subconscious goes, no, you don't. You freaking liar.
Right.
You're correct.
But if you say it is now, December 31st, 2016, and I have $1,300,240 in the bank, the brain's like, okay, let's make it happen. And then
right. Yeah.
It turns on that alert system. It gets you to do the things, and like you were talking about, the opportunities when they present. When somebody like Sabrina comes into our life and says, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. I think we're on the same path. What do you want to come along?"
Right.
And then we go, "Hey, this will help me." And we don't even think about it. It's like it happens all automatically in our subconscious. It just goes, "Okay, this fits. This will help me get to that." Okay, do it.
Exactly.
Thanks for those kudos. I just want to say a lot of people have come in, and I want to just remind everybody that the Morning Mindset Blab with Charlene Burke, we are reading Think and Grow Rich and discussing the elements of the book. So there's an open seat here, you guys. Somebody can go ahead and hop in.
Discussion related to pages 88 through 91 today, which is about... It even starts, the reading began essentially with, don't mistake temporary defeat for failure. I look at those as stumbling blocks or minor speed bumps. Yes, that F word.
Launch pads. Turn them into launch pads.
Yeah.
There you go.
Launch pads, no F words.
Exactly. Refuse to compromise by accepting... Refuse to compromise. That means that, to me, that means when I do compromise, I am lowering myself to a level of mediocrity that removes me from moving forward for my major definite purpose.
And again, that's another thing that Tony Robbins states in his books as well. Decide who you are, decide what your specialty is, decide what you're going to be and what's acceptable, and lay it all out there.
Right.
Lay it all out there for the world to see, but throw up your fences and keep them. Here's what I'll accept. Here's what I won't accept. Let people know who you really are.
Well, and it's because I was just reading a little bit further. Yes, because it helps us to control the conditions and keep me on track. I don't know. I'm talking out loud as I'm reading. It's what's striking me, and that's what I want. I want feedback here, or what, if anything, is striking you. And I'm getting dead space, so I'll move to another. Let me go to another sentence. Let's see what else we can have here.
Well, we lost Sean's picture.
I'm still here.
Oh, there you are.
There is no fixed price for sound ideas. Anybody can have them. Combine that with an imagination and an organized plan, and that's where anything becomes possible.
Yeah.
Okay, Walter. I'm the richest man in the world because I'm giving away everything that I produce for everyone to make advantage of.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome, Stephen. Welcome, Tammy.
Well, and I think there's some important language there.
Yeah, I think that's where I was getting to, because we were starting to go off into somebody else's interpretation, like Tony Robbins. Great stuff, but it's an interpretation of what Napoleon Hill, the way he said it. Right? Go ahead, Sean. What words?
Well, he says make advantage of, not take advantage of.
I don't know, because he follows up with, this is Walter in the chat area, you are rich by what you can give as opposed to what you can get. Okay, well, so putting that in the context of Think and Grow Rich, the principles that Napoleon Hill teaches us is how to be better while we are on our way to getting wealth in terms of dollars. And I have been rich and I have been poor. I prefer rich. So I have the comparison.
Agreed.
Yes, I have the comparison. I know what I'm going for. The difference, though, is that and what Walter's saying is very, very true in that Napoleon Hill is teaching us how to be better people. So our personal development is the primary factor in getting the dollars. No, Walter, I've been poor. My brain said that I was incapable of making more than I was making. I didn't have the talent. No, I was poor. So it took an outside force and took an experience to shake that out of me. To go, now I can agree, yes, I speak in terms of growth, but there was a time when I was poor. So.
Yeah,
Preston.
Yep.
Yeah, Preston, it goes both ways too. You can go back anytime you wish once you are rich. That's right. That's right, because I can be broke and I can be rich. But that's a big difference in mindset. Big difference.
Mm-hmm.
There were no opportunities.
Right.
When I thought in terms of poor. There were no opportunities because my life and my thinking was filled with, I can't, they won't let me, I don't have, I'm not, it's not possible for me, all of that. So when you change that mindset, it takes time, concerted, on purpose effort, and that's what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing, and this is just adding to what I've been doing for a long time. So that's my view.
Yeah, it is definitely a mind. It is definitely takes a mindset shift to stay in that rich once you attained it, because
yes, there's
and
a
they've
reason why
proven
I'm
it again
still
and
working
again.
towards it. It's not with me right now.
Right,
Mhm.
because they've shown over and over again, people who get a sudden windfall are quickly right back where they started, or
So
a lot
that's
of times
sudden.
worse.
Yes, but even those who have worked their tail off,
Because they didn't do the mind shift.
They didn't have the mind shift, and which included getting the specialized knowledge or putting people around you that can help manage that wealth and manage the monies and the finances, so that essentially protect you from yourself when it comes to learning about the finances.
Well, and the other thing is we as humans, by nature, we like to stay in a comfort zone. Now that comfort zone
There's a reason it's
changes.
called comfort zone.
Right. Well,
And it's not always comfortable.
So then I go get another quilt.
We're in one level of comfort zone.
Yes.
We're in one level of comfort zone, and then, like you said, the right people influence us. We read a book, something happens, and we say, "Okay, I can't stay here. I've got to stretch myself. I've got to go to the next level." And I was actually on a blab there, a guy who's very successful. He has a very strong business, and has money coming in and can travel when he wants. He has all the things that we all dream of as an entrepreneur. But he said he stopped, and he's like, he was resting on his laurels. It's okay as we're striving. It's okay as we're striving to take a break. To say, okay, I made it to this level. I'm going to just catch my breath for a minute and then press on. But the true tendency we a lot of times do, if we're not staying conscious of it, it's easy to just fall back into that rut. It's a new rut, but it's a rut just the same.
Right.
Or we're just like, I can just kick back and enjoy. I've worked hard and I got to where I'm at, and I got, things are covered, and so I'll just stay here.
And that goes back to one of the teachings of Napoleon Hill, was to always be learning.
Right.
Right.
Always be stretching, always be going for the next level.
It was fun because yesterday I spoke with a good friend of mine. It had been a while since I've been on the phone with him. He's been out of country, and he's very wealthy. He's got money coming out his ears, and he's got a solid family. His priorities are faith, family, company, and he's just a dear man, and great hugger, and he's he's not a U.S. guy, but finally got him on the phone and we talked for a little while, caught up on things. And then he says, so I'm getting ready to finish this contract. I said, what contract? And he said that because he had been busy with some fundraising and a little philanthropy work. And I said, what contract? And he says, well, I've been working with, as a consultant with this company. And I got about 2 months left. And I'll be able to put it to rest. So I'm helping them get through some really difficult issues and strategizing and things like that. And he's been doing it for almost 4 years. And I said, well, so are you missing? Are you like having room for something else or what have you? And he said, once again, he's told me this before. He says, oh no, I'm always doing something. I can't stop. I mean, there's more to life than just, riding a bike. He's got a BMW. And golf. You can only do that so much, And even spending time with family is wonderful, and he makes room for them. But he's still very active in learning and teaching and helping and being a part of the business world and helping those that he's attracted to. He loves to talk business. Absolutely loves it. So that's the opposite of just sitting back on your laurels. I don't know that he ever did sit back. I know that he took breaks, and he just recently had a break. Came back from a vacation because he needs that. But and he's got the money. He's got the life that he wants and that his family wants. So in my mind, I guess if I were back in the day with the old thinking, my mind, I would look at that and say, well, you can just stop. Right? Is that what you were saying? You can just stop.
A lot of people, especially
with
all, everybody talks of building a business that, it's all about, we start in the entrepreneurial world with, it takes a lot of our time, energy, and focus to run the business, to grow the business, to keep the sales coming in. But a smart entrepreneur is always looking for that way to scale and put things on autopilot.
Yep.
So that if I take that 1 month vacation to Venice, that I know the business will run. I like you said, bringing the people onto the team that can run things in our absence, so that we don't have to be there every second of every day to handle every situation. We still collect our salary, the money still comes in, the business still runs. But I think that's the point where some people, we can have a tendency, not like you said, not everybody does it. There are some people that, like the person you shared, who takes a break and says, okay, I'm done, I'm rested, let's go back on the treadmill. And that's actually bad, because he probably doesn't see it as a treadmill.
No, it's not a treadmill to him.
It sounds like
it's got the challenges and the headaches as any would at the level he's working.
He probably thrives on the challenge, and that's part of the mind shift.
That's where his growth is.
Right. The mind shift is to seek, instead of trying to avoid the challenges, is we get to the point where we seek those challenges, because we know that within those challenges is our greatest growth.
That's it, exactly, because he really doesn't need the money, and he prices himself fairly. Trust me, he does not give away his services. But that's because he's a smart businessman. If you start giving it away, you're not going to have any eventually, right? I mean, even he said that, and he's a generous fellow too. But you can be generous without being a pauper. Exactly. And his services are not inexpensive by any stretch of the imagination, but it's also because it weeds out the people he doesn't want to work with.
Exactly.
And so this contract that he's got was taken because he was sought after, and he accepted it because he thought it'd be a fun challenge. It satisfies his need to help, but he's also learning while he's teaching, while he's guiding in his expertise, which is not theirs.
Wow, somebody really is digging you, Charlene.
Or somebody's really looking for some attention.
I'm like, it's like watching the gas pump, man.
Online key store. That's online key store. That's a script. He's practicing a script.
That's insane.
Well, the last blab, he had me up to like 33,000. So keep going, buddy. You got to beat like 33,000. Then we'll have a prop party.
Yeah, but and I was thinking, I actually had a proud moment because I've been making a huge shift in pricing my services.
Mm-hmm.
And we all go through it as an entrepreneur, especially if we come out of the employee world where, it's all about time for money. Okay, you want me to do this job? How much are you going to pay me per hour?
Right.
So even when we first move into the entrepreneurial world, we're looking at a project and we say, okay, this is what I want to make per hour. And then we look at the project. Okay, this is going to take this many hours of my time, and I want to make this much per hour, and I need to put a little extra in for, costs and overhead. So, okay. And, it takes a shift in mindset, et cetera, to get to the point where you're pricing services as a percentage of the overall value that the client will receive, especially like in the technical world, like web design, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so I have a service where I do webinar setup. So basically they can hire me. I'll set up their webinar system. I'll help them decide on one if they don't have one, get it all set up, and give them some coaching on what I did so that, down the road they can replicate the process. And then I have another tier of service where basically all they have to do is decide they want to do their webinars, and I'll do all the technical stuff.
Okay.
And when I originally put the idea together, I priced it extremely, extremely low.
Mm-hmm.
And I made an adjustment to the point, and the worst part is like one of the first customers I worked with took me up on that offer. And like you said,
Chuck, I don't want you buzzing too low. Much. I'm saying
price it too low and you don't filter. Pricing is a filter. But they were hemming and hawing about, well, I don't feel good about paying first before the services are rendered. And that was my first step, is like, that's my way I work.
Mm-hmm.
You pay me first, or I do nothing. And we were talking $75.
Yep, I've had that issue as well. And
so here's part of the conversation I actually had with my friend yesterday. Was he wanted to know why I was shifting my business. And I said, because what I'd been doing for 6 years is a commodity now. Everybody's, when I have the preponderance of people at any level, well, I can get it cheaper elsewhere. Then I walk away. See ya. I just walk away, and I made the shift in my business to get out of that, because of where I was and what I was offering. And to focus back on what I originally started my business to be.
Right. Well, and that's really what the key to succeed in business is. You have to be flexible because the market changes, right. and at some point, this service or product that you've released in the past, which was new to market, it was not saturated, becomes saturated, and then you get people hemming and hawing. Well, I can go to Walmart. Well, yeah, and not saturated, but to the point where
you either adjust how you're offering the service or you move.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it takes innovation to grow your business and keep it growing.
Right. So
and be able to pivot. I think that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, is you have to be able to look at what's going on in the market, in your business, and be ready to pivot when necessary.
So that brings it right back to, yes, Preston, sometimes you actually have to change your business model, but it also brings it right back to, you have the idea with imagination, and as long as you continue to learn and have your imagination, even if you have a specialized knowledge, even if you have specialized training, if you have imagination, oftentimes the entrepreneurial mindset, what you just described, Sean, could be that because I have the imagination, I can come up with an idea, or I can see an opportunity within an existing offering or setup or customer base.
Right. Or coming at it from a different angle.
Okay. Yeah, I like that better.
Offering a different a different level to it. You know, and I experienced this because when I originally started into this sector of my entrepreneurial journey, I wanted to be a coach. I thought I want to be a business and success coach, because I have a lot of knowledge on, you know, a lot of the pieces that you have to have in place for running an online business. And I originally was going to work with direct sellers who really needed a lot of help. And, you know, not to draw on, but the story went, you know, I was like, okay, all of a sudden this tech side came up. And I had denied it for a long time, but it was a place where I had specialized knowledge. I had specialized skills that were not easily replicable. And so, you know, I started taking on customers. I mean, the customers were coming to me. They're banging on my, you know, it wasn't like I was going out and seeking them. I was just sharing my knowledge.
Darn it.
Yeah, they just came, you know, they're just like, oh, can you do this? Oh, can you do that? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And here's my rate. But I still, in my heart, wanted to be a coach. I wanted to help people get, you know, better, be better in their life, be better in life, being better in business, be better in relationships, get control of their mindset and their emotions, and stop living in effect and live in cause. That's a concept that is repeated again and again and again in my NLP training is, are you living in cause or are you living in effect? Effect is the person like, well, the economy took a downturn and they had job cuts and everything's, you know, cause says there's a job cut coming. I'm going to do this.
The engineer in me and all the years of working with wounded people. Are you living in the problem or are you living in the solution?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, so all this I was getting at is, so I had a semi-cold, like kind of between a cold and a warm lead, because if they knock on your door, they're not cold, right? Cold is like you blindly calling them and say, here's my service, are you interested?
Correct.
So I got a referral. Basically, somebody found another provider. So I've been working on tying the tech and the coaching together. Yeah. And it gives me a unique position, because I see a lot of coaches out there that are saying, oh yeah, you need a landing page, and you need a mail provider, and you need this, and you need that. And okay, good luck. Let me know when you got it ready, and I'll help you, I'll help you hone it in. Right. And the person's going, okay, do I buy lead pages? Do I buy optimized press? And then there's MailChimp and GetResponse and Aweber, and which one do I get? And how do I connect it? Blah, 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 blah. And they're like, and so now they got to hire somebody new. So that was my unique position, is that I can coach somebody I can coach, okay, here's the stuff you're going to need. And okay, here, let's take this hour of coaching and get you set up. I'll guide you over your shoulder, and you'll understand. It's not going to be like you just paid somebody to do it. You'll understand the basics so that you don't have to pay somebody every time you need to change it. Right. You can, but you don't have to. If you have to do a pinch job, you can do it yourself.
Excellent.
But this customer, so I raised my rates again. My wife's like, you got to quit selling yourself short. And I knew it, and I knew it, and I knew it. So I raised my rates. I doubled my one time again. Yeah. And this customer I hate when the conversation, when you're talking with them and the first thing, okay, but what is it going to cost? Like that's the first, I don't want to talk about all the other stuff. What are we talking here? And so I gave them the price, and they started hemming and hawing, and they're like, well, we're like partially done. We just need you to fix it because
all of a sudden you
they're
think it's
always
negotiable.
partially done and just need you to
so now
fix
you think
it.
it's negotiable. All right.
But I was very proud of myself because at the end of the deal, he paid the fee. He was willing to get the fee. Yeah, he said, okay, let's do it.
Outstanding. All right. So I'm going to shut this down for the recording because we're hitting the top of the hour, and then I can stay here for 45 minutes to an hour.
Can't stay too long. I'm going to Lynn's.
That's right. Well, hold on and
I'm going to go for the very same reason. So if I could throw a plug out there for where you can find Charlene and myself and clearly Sean and many others. It's going to be at Network Live virtually. We've got 2 shows today. Charlene's show is tomorrow. Well, it's not a show. It's a group. It's a networking group, virtual networking group.
Business.
9 a.m. tomorrow for Charlene, 3 p.m. today for me. I'll just give you guys a little link here. You can go look at the events. And I have got to go also, so I can go help Lynn get ready.
Okay, so I want to thank everybody for joining me for the morning mindset conversation. It was great information. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That is the website, www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Let's move forward with today on purpose with purpose to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses.